Alright, time to go to the wintry planet as located the other bot.
It's a platformer. You
Time to-
gotta have a winter
Hoven.
level.
I get it because...
Alright guys, it's time to get all Ratchet and Clank the hell out of our enemies.
That must be the ship that will transport the bomb.
You think? Great work, Detective.
Alright, so as you can imagine, our goal is to get up there.
Double
So,
tap the R1 button to activate cover, and hold the L2 or R2.
God, I'm getting Crash Insanity vibes from this.
also, yes, we can do this, which honestly I don't really see much of a practical use.
But it looks cool.
Does it?
Ratchet
To
looks,
someone.
even Ratchet looks more like confused than actually, you know, excited. He's like,
I mean, snow's better than sand.
I'm sure to the
let's
devs
talk
who
about the
programmed in
hovering
those...
with...
Yeah,
I'm
the
sure
hovering
to the devs who
animation.
programmed in these animations, they feel it looks cool.
Again, it's the definition of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks out.
Yeah, it's definitely a bout of first gameism.
It's is it kind of like how Dimps thought that Bubbles Chains in Sonic 4 is cool gameplay even though it isn't?
I don't remember exactly what that is.
Bubbles Chains, that enemy that is only there to be used for homing attacks in Sonic 4.
Oh, well, didn't... That's weird. Weren't already existing bandits for the perfectly viable to homing attacks?
They do, yeah. I mean, they can all be homing attacks. He's just talking about the ones that are specifically made for homing attacks.
Yeah, because Bubbles was that blue enemy from Marble Zone in Sonic 3 too, in case you forgot the blue thing that has spikes in it.
No, I guess maybe the thought process that Dean said was the equivalent of painting a ledge yellow, you know? The thing about, if you need to pass on, you need to, you know, hit these enemies.
I think Sonic Johnny put it best in his Sonic 4 episode 2 review. Like, he's been downgraded to a position that even a Goomba wouldn't apply for.
Yeah, to be fair, Goombas are lower on the totem pole than even that.
Not so... okay, I forgot who mentioned it, but someone made a compelling argument that says that the Koopas technically are worse than the Goombas in terms of enemy ranking. Not so much in terms of potency, but on the whole, because when you get down to it, at least, sure, the Goombas are weaker physically, but they have the spirit of actively trying to go against Mario, you know, moving, you know, left to right. The Koopas, however, outside of usually not wanting to charge Mario, allows him, you know, after he actually bounces them to be used as weapons, you know, with their shells. So they're actively a detriment to the overall arc of Bowser.
So what you're saying is that Goombas can at least die with dignity.
And, you know, not give info or information or resources to the enemy, you know. Even in most of the other spin-off games, the Goombas are portrayed more as the, you know, the blunt, the point man kind of force, you know, the ones that, yes, they know that they will die very easily, but they are not afraid of going the front line. Anyway, there you go.
Like a mid-boss here.
Well, not so much, because, you know, it introduced the... this introduces the Blarg on helicopter. They're kind of like a bit of the flying peacock from Duke Nukem 3D. Kinda, sorta. But, you know, again, they're just as, you know, vulnerable as the regular Blarg soldiers, so, you know, not as squishy as the more regular enemy from the other levels, but not as tough as the Elite Guard.
I guess I should probably put it more so mini-boss then, in that regard. But yes, as Tio mentioned, you'll notice that once again they're ramping up enemy durability as the adventure goes further in.
I mean, classic. Honestly, this is actually something relatively different from Spyro, because Spyro usually stayed very consistent in having the structure of a world, each world having the typical structure of the enemy, and the only thing that would have changed were the weak points, you know, because you had to exploit either flame, charge, or a combination of them, but otherwise you will get generally the same type of roster of enemies per level, just changing flavor and sometimes with the the type of attack that they have.
All right. One question I wanted to ask actually about the series. The future games.
The one on the
I wonder why
PS6.
Europe and Australia got rid of the word future.
I get the idea, maybe because they thought it was pointless, because, again, the future labeling felt to a lot of journalists back then, I do remember this, I would have elaborated when we got there, but might as well. The future label for a lot of journalists felt like the series was soft rebooting, which really wasn't the case.
No, not really, no.
If anything, again, so they were more direct sequels still to the classic games, continuity points and everything. So I get the idea, maybe Europe, considering Europe had already changed a lot of the game's titles, they were like, yeah, let's just do this, why not? Which in this case, I kind of slightly agree. I mean, I can live with or without it. I'm personally not affected, but
Especially because, sorry.
The video game industry is not strange to having weird titles that imply a soft reboot where it's not present. God of War 2018, anyone? So maybe that was the thought process even back then for the sake of trying to get a new audience. I don't know, it just feels weird.
The ship is leaving.
Hang on. There's an old defense turret over there. Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I sincerely doubt it.
Alright, time to deal with the warship.
I'll admit, when I first played the game, I honestly thought their solution was going to be to shoot themselves out at the ship.
Go, Pedro.
No, and like by that logic, shouldn't the remake on the PS4 been called like Ratchet and Clank Reboot, and Rift Apart should have been started the name of a new saga, maybe then.
Like, I'll admit, I always did find it weird that they put Future in there. Like, part of me thought, that, Ratchet and Clank Future was more so people just saying, oh, this is, like, future games. But nope, that was legit the company putting Future in the titles, and it felt awkward to me.
It's like, I mean, I guess if anything, it does at the very least help separate, considering how after the PS2 era they moved more towards the Pixar type of storytelling rather than the more satirical angle that they're going for in the PS2 games. So I understand. But then again, Rift Apart continues that style, so I guess it's just one of those. Again, the whole future thing is just might as well drop that shit.
Pointless marketing, that's
Look,
busy.
I'll just say it, unless you somehow make things look even more technologically advanced, the word future feels kind of like an oxymoron.
Or
in
I think you mentioned it
Ratchet and
before,
Clank.
if it was set, in a distant, future related to the point of the first couple of games, and you play as a, descendant of Ratchet, I guess maybe it would have made sense for having to be labeled like that.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's like, again, you would think if you call them future, well, make them take place in...
Did All for One and Full Frontal Assault got labeled with the future title in America?
I don't think so. I think it was just the mainline
makes
ones.
things even more confusing because those are technically also canon.
And look, whether or not it's in the future, can we just agree that Ratchet and Clank Future sounds like an awkward series name? Like, I get it, reboot era and all that, but
it must,
it's
again,
not like...
at the end of the day, it must have sound cool to some exec, either Insomniac at Sony or both. That's basically what happened.
Unarmed planet. Actually, that doesn't sound too dangerous. Nevertheless, your orders are simple. Destroy anything that moves. Steal the power generators from Gorda City. Then,
okay, now this is for the planet that resembles Hurricos from Spyro 2.
Have fun.
We must get to the moon base and stop Drek.
No, we have to get to the moon base to find Quark. If Drek is there, Quark is probably with him.
But Drek is going to destroy that city. We must get to the base.
That's what I said.
No, that is what I said.
Fine.
Fine.
You're both going to the same place, dudes.
Alright,
Okay, you said this game was more satiric. satirical, Tio, didn't you?
In terms of the humor, I mean.
Mostly about
Okay.
the consumerism waves, not necessarily potentially to the main characters.
Okay, sure. I can get down with that normally. Well, we're 10 parts in. Just let me know when it starts getting funny.
Oh god. Anyway,
it's comedy. You know, it's about as subjective as, well, you're tasting chocolate, for example.
I know.
No, it's just like it feels like a weird decision. Again, I'm glad Sony Europe dropped the future thing because that just flows a lot better in terms of titles.
Like I said,
Well, Dwebs, I think knowing your taste, Dwebs, if it helps you, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the future games a lot better because they take the more traditional, heartfelt Pixar-esque approach to its writing that you'll like a lot more compared to this. So I think you'll like the future games just fine.
Yeah, I have seen satirical things that I thought were funny.
To be fair, his main dealio is with Ratchet and Clank butting heads, so he'll probably like 2 and 3 where they're more, in sync with each other better.
I mean, I wouldn't mind them. I wouldn't mind them. I wouldn't mind, heroes butting heads. I just don't think it's very funny here.
Okay, what about the commercialism parody that they make whenever we see one of those videos?
That's fine. I mean, I've seen worse.
Well, there
again,
you go.
like Dwebs' main complaint is with Ratchet and Clank butting
No,
heads.
that I get. But that I get.
Which-
Well, I'm asking
Also, the
about
execution, in my opinion.
Again, my point is just that I think he'll probably like 2 and 3 better. That's not to say he won't like the future games better still, but it's like, I think he'll probably get a better kick out of this. Like, I will say this, while I do think 1 is fine, it is still very clearly a first game in both gameplay and narrative. And if I were to take a cue of games around the time here, while games with deeper story were definitely a thing, they weren't yet the mainstream, I'd say. So I'd say at this point we were seeing growing pains in the mainstream, if you catch my drift.
I mean, hell, if we're comparing Insomniac series, Spyro didn't exactly get off to a great start either. That game's plot was mainly just, you kidnap the dragons. Thank you for releasing me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really about it. It was practically that game was carried more by its gameplay and the music.
Yep, basically. Well, like most platformers were at the time.
Yeah, I mean, Crash Bandicoot, the first one, was even simpler than that. Literally had one guy doing all the voices, and except Aku Aku, and I mean, it was very early days of more conventional 3D platformers.
It took a while for...
I say one guy doing all the voices, not in the Japanese version, but other than that, yeah.
The swimming controls in this game, from what I can recall, they're fine. Nothing super special, but thankfully nothing dreadful either, essentially. But yeah, no, story-wise, I'll give Crash credit. Like, as far as platformer games go, well, obviously Crash 1 was light on story. Crash 2 did have a good, it had a good amount of dialogue. Mind you, a lot of that came from one Clancy Brown, but still, you get the point. Crash 2 had a more involved story. Crash Bandicoot 3 definitely got that balance between the talking heads and just Crash doing stuff, but hey, story's a story. Wrath of Cortex, God, it managed to mess up having a story in Crash. Now, mind you, not god-awful, but still. You probably have heard the list by now. The villains that we came to love from the Crash series, underutilized. Crunch is like the one threat and constantly gets beaten and all that jazz, essentially. It's not the most compelling narrative. Regardless, though, I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's a shame. Rapid Cortex actually did have a great cast, and they didn't do much with them, sadly. It's weird. But going back to Ratchet and Clank here, I feel like Ratchet and Clank 1 is a fine enough story, but it definitely has warts and all. That's actually part of my frustration with the 2016 remakester, reimagining, whatever you call it, essentially, because, see, it was legit a chance to improve on stuff. They did not improve. I mean, I'm sure in their minds they thought they were improving, but given the mass fan reaction,
Aren't you?
Alright,
hello.
time to get a new modification for Clank.
Actually, I'm a little robot.
I see the Coco inspiration.
Too.
Yeah, looks aren't everything.
You be nice. I think I got something special for you. How would you like a hydro pack upgrade?
That would be quite helpful for swimming underwater.
Whatever.
And of course I had to pick
Oh
the
no,
Ratchet
Ratchet's not getting
Sweetie.
all the
You
attention.
look
Boo
so
hoo.
handsome.
Yeah, no. It's not so much he's not getting the attention. He just don't dig how a lot of people dig Clank automatically. It's jealousy.
You come back and see me any old time.
Also, I just saw the clipping of the eyebrows. Jesus.
That said, girl,
Swim again.
you're not into robots like that, are you?
Gonna just quietly use the teleport to get out of here. Yeah.
Probably for the best.
Also, okay, it's been a long time since I played it, so I don't remember how much of the ratio between platformer and shooting it is. But I argue Blasto on the PS1 was actually also carried over by its admittedly cheesy but present story and voice acting.
Oh god, what was that game about?
I don't think I played that game.
Dribs, you know about what George gave in the Clinton years had to say on the matter. Do you remember?
George Wood, what game are you talking about?
Blasto.
That I don't really.
It was part
that
of.
one I-
It was part in the Kiriko's video. The sequel he says Blasto, yet another wisecracking superhero, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was more. It'll say stuff when George Wood was making that weird comparison. It's like, oh, a load of wisecracking characters like Tomby,
Okay,
the guy that had no dialogue.
Okay, I forgot. I guess the hovering system actually works out for the ice physics, which, if I recall correctly, are only in this level. Woo. There you go.
Try using the
Yeah, I'm getting there, game. Don't worry.
Use the left analog stick to straighten.
Give me a moment.
Yeah, and then again, I could have even used this wing shot if I wanted.
Even the tutorial has no patience for the hell.
Alright, I think we're almost done. It's just this third segment for the planet, and then we can move on. The hydro pack basically would be useful to gain a couple of gold balls, if I recall correctly, because some sections underwater are helped by you swimming faster with that. Again, thanks to the oxygen mask, you don't have to be preoccupied about an air meter anymore, but speed is still a factor.
Alright.
Also, another thing that I think already mentioned sporadically is that Europe, well, at least some of Europe, already was kind of used to translating the titles of the games for this series, because again, I might elaborate more as we go on with each title, but one particular gimmick that Insomniac loved to do with the titles of this franchise was to have double entendres of the wazoo. So a lot of titles in Europe actually wouldn't have flied well, or potentially had a pun that maybe in some languages was actually hard to translate. Potentially, not really the case for not exactly the case for my country, but it was in that case it was more like censorship rather than comprehension. But basically most of the titles were of the classic trilogy. The second and third title were just given a simple slapping of a number instead of the subtitle, which honestly, if I recall correctly, in my country they did like extra work by having the number and a completely new different subtitles, if I remember correctly. I need to check again.
Oh, heck.
Is there a problem, sir?
Y'all wouldn't have any spare parts, would you?
Help yourself.
These dang rocks are too tough. I keep breaking my drill.
That rock is raritanium.
Let me look at that drill.
Yeah, this actually serves to Ratchet use his the tools as a mechanic, although it's a bit questionable because it's just a percussive maintenance, but you know, as long as it works.
I could take that rock
The
off
franchise
your hands, too.
will zigzag in Ratchet remembering to be a mechanic or not, you know.
If I recall correctly, the games are mostly fine about that, though some do kind of lean more to Ratchet being more of a jock than the mechanic at times.
Alright, let's give the Raritanium we acquired to this guy to get the Persuader.
You can't be serious.
Well, I tried.
The Persuader is an illegal black market device that tricks Gadgetron.
Basically, again, it's kind of like when in Bioshock or System Shock, exactly before that, you hack into a vending machine. Essentially, you get an automatic discount on every product. Which will make things very useful in acquiring new weapons and, stockpiling ammunition. So.
But no, Tails right, because in my country, Rift Apart is called A Dimension Apart, because we don't have an equivalent for the word Rift. So there was literally no way for us to so the translators most likely threw their hands up in the air. Fuck it, we'll just call it A Dimension Apart. That works.
Alright, now taking a cue instead from, I think, what's it called? Okay, it's not now, it's gonna be later. I'll mention when it happens in another part. Basically, from this machine, like I mentioned, you get a bunch of nanotechs, augmentation. In this case, you got extra 2. But you need 30,000 bolts for an hour more, you cheapskate.
Yeah.
Lord.
See, here's the to go back to what Jova was saying earlier, though. Like, that's the thing, Jova. That the remake most likely exists because it was meant to be a tie-in to the movie more than anything.
Contractual obligation.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it was still a chance to do better, like regardless of the circumstances.
I'll mention when we get to their Jova, but one thing we have to remember when Insomniac was kind of caught blindsided by it, by the announcements, and had to very recklessly into actually finishing the product. So
was it like that? Sorry.
This is why a lot of stuff is missing compared to the original version, because it literally was unfinished.
So was it like that time when Iwata announced Smash Brothers Wii would be done by Sakurai before Sakurai even knew he was working on the game?
Or FF7 remake with Nomura,
Yeah, remember, we saw in 2015 that Nomura was directing remake, but Nomura himself was not told about this.
I love when companies just hinge on devs not being able to say no like that.
It's literally the Statford and Waldorf joke that we got at the Game Awards. In this case, does Nomura know? Alright, see you for the next part when we get to the space base. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.